Welcome to the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret bunker beneath Bolstorff Field.
Welcome to this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. Folks, we're getting near the end of spring ball, and it's kind of sad. You know, next Saturday, the 12th, is going to come on out to Bolstorff Field and see what the Warriors are throwing together.
1 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know what time.
I was told 1 p.m. by Coach
I don't
Chapa.
know.
We could ask.
I don't know.
We could ask the new offensive coordinator what time he wants to start.
Oh, that's true. We could. He should, because, you know, the head coach is just kind of doing head coach stuff. The defensive and offensive coordinator are doing the work.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Well, let's ask him.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got the new offensive coordinator here with us, Coach Danny Donadio.
Straight from Simi Valley, California.
The Don. That's what the license plate says, I think.
That's right.
The Don.
I love it.
And then
Coach Don.
Yeah, we had Coach out here last week and got to meet our new O-line coach. And and he just never referred to you by your full name. He was just talking to Don the whole time.
Yeah, I don't really
Coach
think there's anyone
Is that something that's always been around for you? I mean, have you always been Coach Don?
No, not till I came here.
Oh.
Honestly.
It's so hard for us to say full words.
Yeah, I guess that's,
Yeah, show up with a suntan, leave with a nickname.
You hear an athlete say the whole word carbohydrate. You want to know why they can't say Donadio.
Yeah, well, I guess it's pretty tough for most people. So I'll take it. At least I'm getting something there.
Are we starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday next week?
That's the first I've heard that time.
Oh, okay. Maybe I know things you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, usually on Saturdays we're practicing around 10 o'clock in the morning, so I would assume that would.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, and we're going to have to know because we're going to do burgers.
Yeah, well, that's on the next day.
Oh, on the 13th. Yeah, after the spring cleanup.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Coach Chapa had told me that he wanted to run it like a game day. So that's why he said he thought it would be about 1. But that was about a month ago. So, you know, if you haven't heard that yet, then to be determined. But at this time, folks, we'll let you know. There's still one more episode coming out before the game. Just know that it is for sure on Saturday.
Yep.
And I think it's like at 1 o'clock. But we'll find out.
Somewhere between 10 o'clock and 1 p.m.
That's
I suppose we could text him while we're here recording the podcast and see what he has to say.
Force him into a decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
1 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about? Yeah, that's right.
Oh, sure, 1 o'clock. Exactly.
1 o'clock? Where are you getting 1 o'clock?
It looks like I'm going to text him, but I'm just going to make sure my ringer's off.
Oh, well, that's very.
We're going to go with it.
Already done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got in trouble for not having my ring. Most of the time, my phone is on silent, which I truly enjoy. One of the things about leaving the military was just like, I'm going to put this phone on silent
Can't
most
wait.
of the time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you've got two phones, like a drug dealer over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Got the old burner phone over there?
Yeah, I got one for work, one for play. I mean, I've got a personal phone and a work phone, and I retire in less than 3 years now. I finally made it.
You picked a date?
I'm close, yeah. So less than 3 years, and then but the only thing I'm going to do is I've got an old phone in my desk drawer, and I'm not even going to ask the DNR about this, but whoever drives me home, because obviously I'll leave my work vehicle that's owned by the county right there, and they're going to drive me by Crystal Lake, and I'm going to chuck that cell phone ceremoniously into the water because
That's beautiful.
You take the battery out. I don't think there's a problem with that.
I don't really care. I don't really care either way because I've carried two cell phones for so many years, and you know, as much as you can go on vacation, you got to have your phones charged, loud, everything.
Yeah, it's a tether. Yeah.
It is. It always has been. It's been many years. It's a good job, and I enjoy it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Sit in a fishing boat and not have to go, oh, that's my work phone, and get up and answer it, and all that stuff.
Kick the feet back and relax.
There still will be people that will call you, though, is my guess, because for about a year and a half, I would still get calls. It declined over that period of time so that it was eventually zero, you know. But for that first year and a half, I would still get calls. Like, people are like, hey, Sergeant Tom, I don't know what time drill is. I'm like, oh, I don't know what time drill is either. Like, I haven't been at drill for like a year.
Did you ever mess with anybody when they call?
I can't believe you haven't been. It was in the letter.
You didn't read the memo?
We have a schedule. Yeah.
So your license plate, Coach, says what now?
The Don.
The Don.
Yeah.
I cannot believe
That wasn't
taken.
You know, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was really surprised too.
Yeah.
I was thinking of all the different variations of how I could do it or what else I could do. And that was the first thing I tried and got approved. I'm like, well,
Wow.
All right.
very surprising, but
Well, because you can get on the DOT website and type it in. And they're like, hey, that's available.
yeah, it tells you pretty much right
Yeah.
away. So like it gives you a line for that, and then if it's not available, you choose another one until it gives you one that's available. But it was available.
And
so.
and the heritage of your last name is what?
I'll give you one guess.
Yeah.
I got to talk to the Don. See if he'll bless my daughter's wedding.
It's suiting. It's suiting.
yeah, it's so great, and that's because I would.
An homage to my my past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because when I went and got my personalized plate that says WUBALL,
Mm-hmm. Great. It's a great one. I was just
yeah,
admiring it as I walked in.
all right, thank you. But I went to the treasurer's office and they handed me the plates and just kind of like, all right, you got to explain this to me. And it was like, okay, Waldorf University football. So we just call it WUBALL.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, okay. Now I'm wondering, when you showed up, Coach, if they're like, she looks at the last name. This is Danny Donadio.
No,
I need to pick up my
Yeah.
plates.
It's funny. It's funny that you asked that actually, because when I did finally get the plates from her,
Yeah.
she was like, "I just want to call you Don. I
Yeah.
just want to call you Don."
The Don.
The
Don.
Don.
Should have showed up in
I
a
love
pinstripe
that.
suit and a fedora.
Mhm.
Little white scarf like you're selling pizzas or something.
Yep.
Like the Godfather.
Hey son, what do you
Carrying a-
for me?
Carrying a cat.
That's not
How
a
are
cat.
you doing today?
And the violin case. What's going on here? Don't worry about it.
Holding the cat and twisting my mustache.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
The
Yeah,
best, and it's a 6-letter deal. Those are the best kind. If you can come up with a 6-letter,
Yeah, you get space.
because then you can get the space, and I mean, it truly
I
works
didn't, I,
out.
didn't, I didn't get a space.
No, but you don't want a space.
No.
because then it would seem strange. Yeah, so WUBALL's good.
Yeah, if I didn't get the space on that, it probably wouldn't.
That's
It wouldn't.
that.
It wouldn't
That
give
is
the
a
same-
wonderful plate. That is just
Yeah.
a great,
Yeah.
great license plate.
I've only had a vanity plate one time in my life, and it was when I was in high school and college, and it was it was the number one,
Yep,
the letter N, and the word only.
one and only.
Yeah,
The one and
Yes.
only.
yeah,
Troy
yeah.
Johnson.
So
this is the
that
first
was
one
a
for
true
me.
vanity plate there.
Yeah,
and then I
sure.
lost all my
Yeah,
hair.
I never really saw the point in doing it before, and then I don't know.
Then you get here and everybody's Don.
Yeah, everyone's calling me Don, so I'm like, this
Yeah.
is
That's great. I love that. I really do. That's one of the better plates I've heard of in a long time.
Yeah,
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
So how did Sydney take it? Did she like? You got to be kidding me! Really?
No, she rolls with it, man.
She's cool.
Yeah, she never bats an eye at it.
Yeah.
I do something, she'll roll with it, whether it's a good choice or not.
Well,
That's good.
you're in a position now then to become the you can become the godfather of offense in the GPAC.
Hey, man,
Let's go there. Let's do that. How's it looking?
it's going, man. There's
Yeah.
a lot of new stuff for everybody, so it's a big learning curve for the guys that are here, and but they're embracing it with open arms, and they're starting to pick everything up pretty quickly. So we've thrown a lot at them. Started out relatively slow, just gave them what I thought they could handle in the first install, and they picked it up way faster than I think any of us really had anticipated.
Good.
Which is awesome, and they're having fun. They're enthusiastic. There's a lot of energy at practice. I think it just comes down to establishing an identity is really what it is. I think that having structure, having a set plan every day and having them included in that plan, they know what to expect.
Right.
They know where they're supposed to be for every period and where on the field they're supposed to be, what the drills are, what the activity is. And I have excuse me, one of the things that I was really big on was having them echo whatever period it was that we're in. So if we're in an indie period and I blow the whistle and say indie, they all have to echo it back.
Okay.
That way I know that they're
Tracking,
they're bought in, they know
engaged.
Yeah, exactly. And they know what period is it. Oh, we're supposed to go here. They know exactly where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, and the standard is that we don't walk on the field, right? As soon as you're on the field, we're running around.
Okay.
We're going from place to place, even if it's to go get water. After practice, if you're still on the field, we're not walking off the field.
There you go.
It's just the little things like that, the standard that we want to set with them. So that way, it might seem small now, but down the line, those little things kind of add up.
Oh, yeah. It's a culture. I mean, little things like that do matter. Like you said, it creates buy-in, and it creates a sense of ownership for sure.
Right.
Like, I think about, when I was running a recruit sustainment program, we had the unit that we held our drills in down in Waterloo was the battalion headquarters for one of the infantry battalions and for the Red Bull division, right? So there's this giant right in the middle of the drill floor, right in the middle of the floor is this the 34th Infantry Division painted on the floor. So it's a big black circle with a red,
bull skull and
it's
horns.
the 34th ID. Yeah, and we were like, you do not walk you don't step on the Red Bull. Like you're not even, don't even, and then there would be punishments for that. You'd be push-ups, or I'd make them guarded, and then anybody that got within a meter or 5 meters, whatever, depending on how I was feeling, they had to halt. Do not come near the Red. Like it was embarrassing, and so nobody stepped on it. And yet, but then when they would come back to that, that there were several other units that drilled there, and then maybe they remember that unit after they'd gone through their training. And maybe at a regular drill weekend, and then dudes would just be, walking across the Red Bull, and they were just aghast. You're like, oh, how can you walk on the Red Bull? And it was a discipline thing at the time, and it built pride because we taught them the history of the ID and all.
And I think that's a big thing that goes along with it. One of the big things that I wanted, from myself, from the rest of the offensive staff, and from the players alike, I wanted them to have accountability. I wanted them to have an understanding of what was expected, right? And then to be able to have this team first mentality.
Yeah.
Right. The whole point of our spring ball up to this point has just been growth. That's been the theme of our overall practices and whatnot. And then each day has its own, sub theme and whatnot. But I wanted it to be where I didn't have to police the guys, right? If guys are making mistakes or doing the little things wrong, I don't want it to always come from the coaches. I don't want it to always come from me or from Coach Bardes or from Coach Eames. I want it to come from them, right? Police themselves, accountability, the responsibility falls on them to correct those things.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of, having them go in rotations. You guys are grown-ups. Figure it out. You all have to get reps. Don't be the guy that's going to be greedy and take all the reps. You've gotten good reps. Let somebody else take some reps so that everyone's getting equal reps so that we're all prepared, not just one person prepared, right?
Sure.
So, that was part of it.
And vice versa. Like,
yeah.
Don't be the guy that's willing to sit out.
Yeah, like if you're not getting your reps, don't come to complain about not having your reps.
Right, yeah.
Get out there.
Because now, when I leave it up to them, they can't come and complain to me about their reps.
Right.
Right? Well, why aren't you getting reps? Well, so-and-so was in too long. Well, you guys need to figure that out, right? It needs to be a team within the unit, right?
Yeah.
Each position group has to be able to build off of each other, right? So having these themes and these goals and things that we want to accomplish each day, and then also telling them the why, right? You make mistakes. It's okay if you make mistakes. But the things that we can't coach are your effort and your attitude. Those two things, like if you want to be out on the field, show me you want to be out on the field.
That's right.
And it promotes communication. You know, you can't just sit there like, oh, I really would like to get out there. That's where you need to go talk to your team within your team and say, hey, guys, I've got 2 reps today. I'm heading out next time.
Yeah.
Well, now
think how valuable that is when they graduate and they go into the workforce,
they're huge
and
skills.
doing their thing, and it's just like they're used to working as a team, used to managing their and
they're not spoon fed into the working world, which is unfortunately a big problem.
Yeah,
nowadays,
yeah,
where
it sure is.
Kids and young adults are given the answers to the test essentially. So when they get put in a tough situation, they don't know how to handle it. Right. So we put these guys in tough situations every single day, right? Just with how the pace of practice, some of the drills that we do, all the way down to play calling, right? It's an entirely new offense for these guys that have been here, and an entirely new offense for guys that are new.
Yeah.
So they're all learning at the same level.
Yeah, level playing field for everybody.
Perfect.
Yeah,
right? Like that's what you want. So no one has the advantage. No one has an edge on anyone else.
Yeah,
because it's all up to you. How much time are you going to put in outside of meetings and practice and whatever it is? Like, how much are you guys meeting as a group outside of practice to study the plays? Right? Every single offensive player has access to the plays. They have all of the installs, they have the playbook, they have the policies, they have everything. So they can go on Huddle and look at everything. There's no excuses. Nice. There's no, coach didn't give me this, coach didn't give me that.
Right.
You have everything in front of you that you need from not just the plays, but every little detail from how we call our run plays and why we call them like that. It's explained, right? The different tempos that we have when we're in a no huddle versus a huddle, different play calling, right? The way the quarterback communicates it to the line is different. So they need to know both, right? It's not just, here's the play, this is how we run it. No, you need to know how we run the play versus this front, this defense, all the different intangibles that go with it.
Right.
You got to know that. So I'm putting a lot on your plate because if you want to play college football, you have to be able to do those things. This is not backyard ball where you can just go out on the field and expect to win.
Right.
Yeah, chuck it and pray.
Right. And the teams, all the teams in this conference have already done that. They've already established themselves. They've set their culture. They set their standard, and their kids bought into that, which is why they have the history that they have. Right? Of course. And so in order for us to be able to do that, we got to work harder. We got to be willing to sacrifice the normal young adult lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I tell these guys all the time, you're not a normal college student.
Absolutely not.
You are held to a higher standard. You're looked at differently. Every single person that is a normal college representative, administration, whatever, wants to find any excuse to point the finger at you and say, see, this is why football players do this, this, and that.
Right.
Right. So we have to change that narrative.
Of course.
Right? We have to be, we have to get our grades up. We have to be smarter on campus than we have been in the past. We have to, can't cause problems in the dorms or on campus. We have to be respectful members of the community. Like all these things matter, and you can preach it, but then allowing them to police it themselves instead of us constantly having to put that on them. We don't even they do that all on their own.
Right. Yeah.
Like we don't even have to bring it up.
Good.
And a lot of it carries over to and it started in the beginning of the semester with all the stuff that we've been doing in the weight room, on the field, all the speed stuff. Everything we've done is different than what we've done in the past. And the guys wanted that.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they wanted more on their plate. They wanted to be pushed harder.
Yeah.
Which is the first step to it. When you go 0-11, it's hard to find a lot of positives in that.
Yeah.
But even in the darkness there's a light, right?
Absolutely.
These guys brought that light out with their attitude and their desire to want more. So we gave them more. Right? We put more on their plate. You have to be more accountable. You got to do all these things. So now you got to learn an entirely new offense and be productive on the field.
So this all started at the return for second semester in January. That's when you started as the OC, and so now
I didn't even start as the OC until
was it February?
end of February.
Yeah. So a month and a half into this, how long did it take to put that stuff together? Like where you were like, you talk about having all the things, these, prepared for huddle, and this is how we're going to do it, and explaining, why we make the call. Like, was that there before, or did you prepare that? Is that part of what you've been working on?
That's just part of what I've been working on.
Yeah.
Before Coach Bartez and Coach Eames really kind of stepped in to help with all that stuff, it was really just a lot of long nights in the office. And, I've been an offensive coordinator before, so a lot of the stuff that I have is stuff that I've taken from, my experience as an offensive coordinator in the past, things that I did in college myself as a player, and then things that I've learned over the years from different various coaches that I respect and I trust. So, a lot of that stuff kind of poured into one, and there's a lot of, a vision that I had with it and things that I kind of wanted to do and a direction I wanted to go with it. And, it just started kind of falling together, and I just took one page at a time and I started with the policies, right? Like, what are we going to do? What's the expectation, right? We're not going to be late to meetings. We're not going to show up wearing pajamas to meetings. We're going to be having pen, paper, and it's not just pen and paper. I need to see that you've written stuff down after every single meeting, right? Like little things like that went onto paper. So now it's like that goes to the players. They now can read through that and they know the expectations.
Right. They got a handbook. I mean, it would seem like that it's just common sense, but it's a challenge because in college, football and any sport, there's obviously there's turnover and then things change and it's like, how do we, so from the get-go, having that stuff available to them for spring ball to carry through the summer, for the new recruits coming in the fall, for them to be able to see that and understand that, have it in hand, that's key.
Well, we already have, and that's a great point too, because we already have multiple of our commits right now that are coming in the fall are already on huddle. They're already watching plays. They're already, I get calls from some of our guys every week. Coach, what is this? What do you mean by this? Because they're not here to actually hear the teaching points and to know all that. So they're just reading it. Right? And that's one thing to just read through it and then be able to retain that information. And that's another thing and this is one of the things that I'm really big on with them is don't just take the information, read it, and try to regurgitate all of it. It'll never happen that way.
No.
Read it. What does it mean to you? How can you make it make sense in your head? And then write that down. So now you start associating these things with things that make sense to you. So when we're on the field, you're not having to think. Right? Get into my head on what my thought process is on why I'm calling these plays the way I'm calling them, why I'm trying to do things the way I'm trying to do it. So that way, when you're on the field, you just kind of inherently know what it is that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's like learning a language. Yeah. If you have to, when you're new at the language, you can probably communicate with somebody in that language that's foreign to you, but what are you really doing in your head?
Yeah.
You're translating in your own head 100%. and then getting out the words that you want to say. And then when you become a more, prolific speaker, you're just talking at that point, which 100%. That's where we want them to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it's a lot, and I understand that for them. There's a lot of stuff that they're having to learn. I mean, we just kind of went through filming some of the signals for what we have in already, and it's like 160 signals that they're having to learn already. So,
ASL, man,
it's a lot. And I totally understand that, and I expect mistakes, and I tell them all the time, like, I'm not going to ever get mad at you guys for the mistakes. That's correctable. Especially when most of the mistakes that we're making are very minor mistakes. We're able to move the ball in the run game. We're able to move the ball in the pass game, right? Things that we really wanted to be able to do. So I think once they see that the work they're putting in and the plays that we're running are productive, and we're not always going to get positive yards on a play, but how are we going to respond, right? Like today we didn't have a great day. Today we went backwards a lot, and I think it was more so just situational stuff that we were trying to do. It's somewhat new, so they're still trying to learn it, right? I'm not going to be mad at that. It's the effort It's the communication, the little things like that, the non-negotiables. But again, it's like I can yell one time at them for it, and then I don't have to say another word the rest of practice because everyone else starts policing themselves. Most of the time, I don't even have to yell at practice. I'm usually trying to tell everyone else to calm down. But if I am yelling, it's because we're doing something that isn't easily fixable. If that makes sense. So like an effort play. If we're walking on the field, or if we're, not getting off the ball, or we're false starting as a receiver, right? Those are things that will fire me up. And those are the things that they already know will fire me up. So they
avoid it.
Avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
well, and the expectations have been made through your policies that they have access to.
Right.
And most anyone, whether you're an adult or a child, in a structured setting are going to raise themselves or lower themselves to the expectations. So having high expectations, I mean, then you can keep reaching. And if the expectations are extremely low, well, geez, that's cake.
Yeah.
But in this program, in especially a team sport, you have to have high expectations because it's not just you. Absolutely.
And I think, well, I don't want to say that well, how do I want to word this without it being the wrong message? But I guess the kids buy into what it is that we're trying to do as an offense. So that structure kind of self-regulates itself, if that makes sense. And when it doesn't meet that standard, now I think there's certain guys in that group that don't really have the time or the want to see that anymore. So again, it goes back to the whole policing of itself, like with the structure part of it. There's guys that want to win so badly that they don't tolerate mistakes, even knowing that mistakes are going to happen.
Sure.
Right.
Which is not something that I think they're used to. Right. And then when we do have success, we're also not used to that. So they don't know how to handle that situation. Right. So it's like, you're ever going to tell them to celebrate with their teammates when they score. I don't think I've ever had to do that before.
Right. Yeah, I suppose.
Right. So like there's a lot of things that I'm having to learn in this whole process with the minds that we have and the skill sets that we have. What are we going to be able to do with that? Right. What's our strengths with it? So I think this has been a good opportunity for them to get that structure that they've wanted. And now you start weaning out the ones that don't necessarily buy in with that structure.
Absolutely. And spring ball, that's really the intent behind your spring ball is that you're installing those new things. Obviously after every season, there's little changes in most every program across the nation. It's rare for that not to happen. But then that's where spring ball, you're bringing in some of your transfers, you're bringing in your new people. Hey, this is what worked last year. This is what didn't work, regardless of which program it is. And then boom, this is how we're going to do it next year. That's what spring ball is all about.
And I think the cool thing about it too, is you really get a sense of like what styles of football people are used to. Because we get kids from all over the place. It's not just kids from Iowa. We get kids from the West Coast, the East Coast, kids from Texas, and everyone has their own unique take on football.
Yeah.
Right. They all have their own certain ways of running routes, or they all have their way of blocking up front. Like everyone's different. So you're teaching everyone how to, like a melting pot of talents, right?
Right.
Not this one's not better than this one, right? So how can we make their talents useful for one play, right?
Right.
And so that's been super fun to see in the spring processes when you get to see all of that, right?
Of course.
Especially all the transfers that just came in.
Yeah.
That are learning an entirely new system.
Yeah.
Just like the guys that have been here.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about the even playing field. Well, everyone's going to have to learn my expectations on how they're supposed to take a handoff, or they're supposed to, release on a certain route, or how the quarterbacks are supposed to drop back. There's certain things that they're not used to. And breaking that mold has been the challenging part, but that's the most fun part is that
Sure.
they don't fight on it. You know what I mean?
No.
I think that's something we've had in the past.
If they feel like they're learning, I mean, that's going to keep them engaged, you know, and they must feel like, yeah, hey, this is happening.
Mm-hmm. When they're texting me out throughout the day, when's the practice plan going to be posted? When's the script going to be posted? When's install what going to be posted? They're asking me for it. I'm like, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Well, and obviously what you're doing, you know, the expectation that those leaders, some of those kids, you know, I was out at practice tonight. I haven't been there very much this spring for a lot of different reasons, but the reality is that I'm actually seeing what you're talking about. You know, I looked at, you know, they were, you were calling a certain offense when you had some guys out there. It was just the offensive group running some plays. And DT was there, and he was just like, you know, talking to the receivers, which obviously he knows. Like, no, you don't want to do this. You guys got to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You got to listen. You know, so one of your team leaders, you know, somebody that's really stepping up. You know, he came on late last year, and you know, he's out right now. But I tell you what, it's good to see that where the coaches don't have to see these problems out there and go, guys, you know, yelling from the sideline. You got somebody out there,
and they're not. They're going about it in the best possible way too. Like they're coaching each other up, right? One of the things that I'm going to be really big on in the fall is we'll have player-led meetings, right? I'm going to pick a certain guy in my receiver room. Hey, what are some things that you struggled with or you felt like you did really well in? Pick one of each, and I want that to be the focus of your meeting today, and you're going to run the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch it. I want to see how you coach up your teammates.
Right.
Right. So that in itself is going to instill leadership.
Right.
And whether you're a captain or not, you can still be a leader within your own group. Right. And that's something we're seeing a lot of right now is just the overall leadership within each position group has been phenomenal.
Right.
Some of our veteran linemen have been awesome. LT's been nothing short of a blessing.
Of course, you know, that dude's golden.
He's easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple new guys in there that are learning the ropes and trying to do things at a fast pace. So
yeah,
having a guy like LT has been really helpful.
And he's moving good. And well, some of your first statements kind of made sense because as I was walking off the field trying to get there to deal with some equipment needs afterwards, it's like LT's like running. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's must have class.
Yeah.
And now I know why.
Yeah.
You see LT, all 320 pounds of him, whatever he is, and he's moving.
Yeah, he is.
And he worked his tail off in the off season so far.
Sure
So
did.
and so is everybody else. You know, our line in general is moving so much better.
Yep.
Just they just look like they're not in pain all the time.
That's one of the things I told LT too, is that I said, man, it looks like you can actually like move now.
Yeah.
I said, and he's like, yeah. He said, you know, obviously it still hurts, but still, he said, he feels great.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. And yeah, obviously you got your other guys out there. We have a few key guys still sitting out because of injuries and waiting for, you know, things to heal up and get them back this fall. So
we heard last week that that the O-line was doing pretty good and protecting the pocket pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it really just kind of like when you give them rules within the pass game, even in the run game, if you give them rules, it makes their job so much easier. Rather than them having to think all the time when, you know, play goes quick, right? They don't have a whole lot of time to get up there, identify what's going on in front of them, make their calls, and then the play goes. So they're moving fast, they're moving physical, and they know what they're supposed to be doing. So those things combined, they're starting to move and displace the line of scrimmage. They're creating pockets for our quarterback to the point where the quarterback, like, you know, thinks he has to escape, and then he's like, oh, I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sitting pretty right now.
Step up into the pocket.
What is this
Yeah.
little nest I've got?
I think after 1 or 2 practices, and they started to realize that this was going to be a more common thing, they started to feel the trust and confidence of staying in the pocket and delivering throws on time. And our quarterbacks have been doing a really good job, again, with rules and structure, and you have certain things that you're supposed to abide by on each thing. Those things show up when you do those little things right. You're gonna make plays, right? We're moving the ball in the run game. We've had some explosive plays in the spring ball so far, and receivers are catching the football well. They're making plays. We're getting guys open. Tight ends are heavily involved with both. I wanted to make sure that we took care of the tight ends with everything, right? I want you to be involved. I don't want it just to be you're a blocking tight end or, you're just an extra body decoy. No, I want to get you the football, right? Our tight end is a big body boy, so he needs to. We need to put the ball on him and let him make some plays. So, I think that's been really encouraging for those guys to know that they're just as much involved. And then you go even more into the offensive line, and our center right now, Jacoby Mays. I went to him in the beginning of when we started doing all this, and I was like, are you going to be good with pulling? He goes, Coach, I'll pull every play if you need me to.
Oh, love pulls.
And I just, that was all I wanted to hear. I was like, I'm not going to do that, but I want to hear that from you. So I know that okay, this is something that you are going to be bought in for. So I think that was just the attitude that the offensive line had. So they're moving and they're having fun, and they're causing some problems for the defensive staff. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that is good. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you got some new faces on offense. Obviously, we've had Coach Eames here. Even at the coaching level, we bring in Coach Bardis, and then you had some transfers, and everybody's looking really, really strong out there.
Yeah, again, I think it comes down to the confidence, right? If you feel physically confident to do it, then you're going to be moving pretty well. But if mentally you're locked into whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to be hard to stop some of the guys that we have.
Yeah.
I think, again, I can't stress this enough. When you come off an 0-11 year, it's kind of hard to have confidence in your abilities and the things that you do. It's really coming back to the drawing board, right? We got to get faster, we got to get stronger, and we got to be more mentally locked in. So how do we do those 3 things? Right? It comes down to sacrifice. We got to get up early in the morning and get the lifts in. When we're not doing that, we're on the field doing our speed training stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Then we did boot camps. Then we're doing meetings and all these different things to try to get you engaged. And then it shows when you get them on the field, right? So having all these new faces and these new guys out there has been really exciting.
Yeah.
Because they bring a different level of competition and leadership and size and all of those intangibles. So
it could be, and it's strange to say it, and I wouldn't advocate it, forever, but maybe the 0-11 thing turns out to be one of the best things that could have happened, in the sense that how you restructure, how you define who you are, how you move forward, and the lessons that are learned from that makes this team truly transform into the new Waldorf University GPAC team.
Well, and the kids that are here are the ones that want to be part of that rebuild.
Yeah.
The ones that are here are the ones that want to be part of making this what it can be.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about it in an offensive group. Are we going to be a growth mindset, or are we going to be a fixed mindset? Right. I think in the past, it's been very much a fixed mindset in this program. So a lot of personal accolades and me type of mentality, and then it's a lot of pointing fingers when things don't go your way. I think in win, lose, or draw, good or bad, whatever it is, I think this group of guys genuinely supports each other, which I think is the biggest part of it.
Of course.
So I think that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of where the biggest change is right there.
Yeah, that's what you want to see rolling into spring ball, which again is next Saturday.
Yeah.
Crazy
and
how
we
fast
think it's
that
about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Tune in to, I don't know, somebody will tell you. I'm sure it'll be on some sort of social media site.
Yeah.
So with all this coordinating that you're having to do now, is it going to ruin your golf game coming up now that the weather's changing, Coach?
No, I don't think it's going to ruin my golf game. In fact, I just got new clubs.
You did?
I did.
Just like as a happy birthday to me type thing? Or?
No, my wife spoiled me.
Oh, well, good for her.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the day this drops, which is Friday, as they always are. Well, not always. There's days, but they're always on Friday when we do them, which is most of the time. I know that that Friday this is when the golf course is open in Forest City.
Oh my gosh!
April
All right.
4th. Yeah.
I know I need to try out the new clubs.
Absolutely.
Just picked them up last week. So.
Yeah. Get them out there and
do you have a?
them out.
Did she get you this big leather bag that says the Don?
The Don.
No, I haven't gotten my new bag yet.
Yeah.
But is that what it's going to say?
No.
No.
Maybe it could, maybe it could be never. Maybe it could be reminiscent of Ray Chervick's bag, if you remember that one.
I don't.
I won't throw it out the window.
Ray Chervick? He was Rodney Dangerfield on Caddyshack.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was his name?
Yeah, I believe it was Ray.
It's fine. We don't need to Google.
call him Rodney
I
Dangerfield.
definitely know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely know.
Oh yeah,
I
the
just didn't
bag
know
where
the
it's got
character
it's
name.
got the tap beer in it.
It's got the tap beer in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if he could pull that
There
off,
you
that'd
go.
be pretty cool.
The poor caddy
That
that
would
had
be
to
kinda
carry
cool.
that thing around. Yeah.
So does Sydney golf with you, or is that something that you do just on your own, or just you and Chapa get out there?
Yeah, Chop and I will go out. Some of the other guys on staff will go too, but Chop and I usually are the ones that go out the most and play. Wife doesn't usually go out with me, but if she does, she's usually just hanging out in the cart or putting.
So she moved out here full time. Last September? Something like that?
Yep, last September.
Yeah. How's things going for her? Is she becoming an Iowan through and through?
Yeah, she's got Iowa plates on her car and everything. Man.
Nice.
She got the new black plates on her car before I got my
Awesome.
Dawn plates.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good. Obviously with her moving out here, she brought the other animals with her. So
Yeah.
Got a full house.
it's even more full now. We just got another dog.
Well, good. You probably needed another animal.
Yeah, I needed 5 in my little
Of course.
800 square foot house.
Yeah. I hope it's like a Bernese Mountain Dog or something like that.
No, it's a chocolate lab mix.
Okay.
Oh, so it is not exactly
It's an
small
English
dog.
American chocolate lab.
Yeah.
Nice.
You really love dogs.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I got one,
Yeah, I have 3
Yeah. Wow.
and then 2 cats.
Okay. Well, I got a cat. Keep them separated.
Yeah. They my little
Well, they know each other. Yeah.
my little puppy does not care if it's a cat or a dog. It wants to play with whatever is
Yeah.
there. So
So this is a puppy, like just a few weeks old, or
9 weeks old, yeah.
Oh,
man,
wow.
your life.
Yeah.
Holy
My wife told me that she would never do a puppy or a boy dog again, and she brought home a puppy boy dog.
There you go.
Now, was this like something you had to agree on, or did she show up one day and went,
Okay, so
honey, look at the
no,
dog.
so she for work, she had a conference in New Orleans
Nice.
like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. So she calls me and she goes, "I need you to tell me no." And I said, "What? What do you mean?" She's like,
would
I want
never.
they're doing puppy adoptions. And I said, "Well, I'm never going to tell you no."
Yeah.
And she said, "But you need to." And I was like,
Nah.
"Go ahead."
Yeah.
So she was in New Orleans, adopted the dog, and then flew back here with the dog.
Wow.
Nice.
So it's a It's a
Creole.
It's a Creole dog. Yeah.
And then its first little experience was in the snow, so I'm sure that was a bit of a shock for it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Probably they'll come to love it though.
Yeah, I mean he's a bit of a klutz.
Yeah.
Well,
at that
puppy,
age. Yeah.
you know, everything. He's probably got feet the size of dinner plates.
They're pretty big, yeah.
What
He's gonna be a big dog.
What'd we name him?
Trips.
Trips. That's good.
An homage to the football world.
Yeah, that's right. That's great.
Yeah. Ooh,
Adam, because he stumbles all over the place.
Yeah, there's either way.
Yeah, either way.
Duality.
We're gonna see Trips. We're gonna see Trips, aren't we? That's good.
He was out there today on the field. I don't know if you saw him when my wife had him out there.
I must have been early because
I meant in the offense.
She was there the whole practice. She was in the stands, but
was she sitting with Angel?
yeah, she was sitting with Angel and them. And then after practice, they came on the field.
Dang it! Because I had
You'd
to
only know.
feed into the locker room.
Yeah.
If I would have seen the dog, I would have been all about that.
Right.
He's all about this big.
Well, that's probably why I saw, and it looked like Angel, and I didn't look close enough because I was far enough away. I was.
He's a good dog. He's pretty mellow. He's a beta dog. He's not much of a yeah. He doesn't really need to be the focal point. He just wants to play.
We got a few other dogs. I mean, or a couple other dogs. They're gonna
yeah. Well, it's
He's
really
gonna know his role.
my older. The oldest one is one of the cats, and he's the alpha.
oh yeah.
No question about
Yeah.
it. He wants nothing to do with any of the other animals.
Well, like a cat.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's how they are.
Yeah.
We've had cats, and we don't have any animals right now. Which that's why I love it when people get dogs and cats and stuff, because then I can get my fix.
Yeah. My what is it? My father-in-law would say, pet free since 2003.
I don't remember. I think we've been probably 4 or 5 years without Frank. She was a little Boston, you know. She had our hearts for a lot of years, but when we had to take her to the vet for that last trip and do what the hard thing to do, you know, you do it for the dog and not for yourself. But I'll tell you, I don't want to do that again.
No, that's exactly right. That's how I felt before. And then Jack decided that we needed a dog in his senior year. And I was like, again for a full couple of months where they were asking every day, Heidi, everybody was there. And I'm like, come on, let's just get a dog. They're so cute and everything like that. I'm like, you people all leave every day. You go do whatever you do, and I'm here
With this thing every day.
with this dog, and
He's
the
your
dog
best buddy now,
becomes
isn't
my
he?
bud. That's like and so Harry was essentially my dog.
Yeah.
You know, and then that was incredibly difficult. You know, and then they rolled me over, and so with all these false promises that they were going to take care of the dog, and now so Knox is he's. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is don't want to do it again. Yeah,
I've told my wife I got just under 3 years till I throw the keys on the desk and ride off into the sunset.
Throw your phone in the lake.
Yeah, that's for sure. But my wife is going to continue to work. She's younger than I am, so it's like I might need a buddy. So I'm thinking about going to the Humane Society, finding some mid-size hound that doesn't mind riding on a boat most of the day.
There you go.
And just kind of, hey, jump in the front seat, and me and my dog.
There you go.
But then again, I'm hoping to live long enough, but not long enough to have to say goodbye to another animal, because that's some of the most heart-wrenching stuff anybody ever has to do.
Yeah,
I had to do that with my last dog that I had before I moved out here, and that sucked.
Yeah.
It's an ugly cry too. It's not just a little, that was hard.
Oh no,
it's
I was
snort.
yeah. I was like to the point where I couldn't breathe. Like I was devastated because you like you said, you build up like that relationship with them, and they become like your buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I adopted her and raised her for however she was 16 years old when we put her down, but at that point it's like, damn. Like that sucked.
Yeah.
I don't ever
Well, what do they say? That if you want to know who likes you more, your dog or your wife, you lock them both in a trunk for 2 hours and see who's happy to see you when you open up the trunk. Because the dog would be like, you're still here. here, and your wife might have something else to say.
Yeah, a lot more. I can believe that. Well, that's interesting. I didn't get, I would get my emotion didn't hit at the same time. When I get emotional, it hits me like it comes as a surprise, like, a linebacker that you didn't see coming.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden you could just be having a day, and, like everything's fine, and then something will strike you, and that's where it catches up with you. And then you get over it, and then it'll catch up with you another week or two later. And
I'm in those moments, man.
I'm an in the moment person.
You're an in the moment.
And then it's just deal with it.
Yeah.
I still remember shortly after
I like to suppress.
Oh no. Well, I do that. I do plenty of that anyway. That's good old public safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, driving home sometime from doing whatever, and it was after we'd put Frank down. It was a few weeks after, and my wife was reading something on Facebook, and I look over, and she is joyously in tears.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Just thinking about Frank."
Yeah. It'll catch you off guard.
Yeah, and I'm
Well, I don't want to get our listeners too down.
Oh,
on that
geez,
whole
yeah,
thing
exactly.
there, but I will tell you this:
has anybody else had to put a pet down
yeah, that's
recently?
right. Send us your texts and let us know.
Exactly. Send us pictures. We'd love to see you.
We'll start a whole wall. We have, since we last talked, completed a pretty significant mission last Saturday. Friday. Friday.
Yeah,
when it came out, we
wasn't able to help.
Yeah, but I tell you what, we did it in just over 2 hours, and we would have had it knocked out in under 2 hours if we didn't run into a questionable flagging situation. And I put the flags out, right?
Oh, okay.
And I used blue flags because that's what I have. And so does
water.
the city water department.
Yeah.
and so when we marked everything, I marked everything out, and it was all, I won't say mathematically correct, but pretty close. And then the city water did come by, and they pulled their own flags because apparently they recycle them, which is smart.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you, Ted Hall was out there helping, and at the end of the day, I saw him. He took he picked all the flags up, so there's no flags left. But he kept them. He had like a handful of.
He kept
like
all
my
of them.
flags, and I'm like, whatever. Ted's helping. That's what he wants. The flags. It's fine.
Hey.
He also took all of the scrap metal off the bottom of the trees that we had to pull off, and and all that stuff. So he did all that for us. So I'm like, you can have the flags. There's no big deal. But it was funny. He's like, he's got this handful of flags. Like, I'm gonna take these. I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, one of those flags, when the city guys came by, it wasn't even a city guy. It was one of our own guys. We found out later that they had gone through. They had moved one of the water flags for whatever reason and put it right next to my flag, which to that person was thinking, well, we already have this marked. We know this isn't a water line, and we don't want this flag got missed. But when Adam comes along with this 36-inch
that's a
auger,
big old auger
that he's drilling holes to put these trees in, they're pretty good size. They're probably 10, 12 feet tall, buried, planted in the ground. And he gets to that one, and he's like, no, I don't think so. So we had to skip that, bring the city back out, and they're like, that's not our line. And then we did run into a root at the last.
That'll get your attention.
The last one.
Like, whoop.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a root. It was a rock.
It was a massive,
big old rock out there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Over by the dugouts, or
by the dugout.
Yeah. It just stuck out just enough that the hole, like you couldn't get past it.
Yeah. It was something. But we planted 40 trees in, let's call it 2 hours. We had a great crew. The Don was out there, and I was watching him because I was in the tractor moving the trees dropping them into there. And you were like, he ended up becoming like the tree rodeo guy. Like you would grab the tree, I'd drop it in, lift out the forks, and he'd grab the tree, slap it in. I think you slapped Coach Chapa a couple times with the top of a tree, know. And he had started out. I was watching because he had these white shoes on.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know if California
white
guy
patent
here knows
leather
what you're supposed to. And I asked him about it, and he said, "Nah, these are my old shoes. I wore these on purpose."
Yeah. I wasn't trying to wear boots because it was too hot for boots.
It was 86 degrees is what it ended up.
Is that
being
not
that
just dumb? And
It
then
was stupid.
And the next day it was
we've had
cold,
snow twice,
and then snow on Sunday and Monday,
And it's cold right now.
Yeah,
well,
it's
and
cold. Yeah.
So, Coach, have you ever been at a worse practice than last Tuesday?
No, that was bad.
Now
It didn't start that bad.
No, but it got.
But
that
then,
bad.
you're standing there and you're wondering why your face hurts because the snow's coming in like sideways.
Oh yeah, big
and just hitting you right in the face.
In full disclosure, I had seen some players this weekend, and one of them asked me, "Did you quit?" And I said,
I heard about that.
No, I didn't. And they're like, oh, okay. I just wondered, we haven't seen you.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of that in the last couple of times I've stopped out there. So I need to be better about that. Obviously I had some personal things going on, but, the, Tuesday, all right, leaving, told everybody, Dad's leaving work at 3:00. We got practice today, folks. All right. And, sitting in my office working on some stuff, and all of a sudden, oh geez, it's about 2 minutes after 3. So I'm going to go out and to my truck, and walked out, and ice pellets are hitting me in the face. So I've made a command decision that I love those gentlemen more than anything in the world, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, we tried to have a.
It's good training.
Yeah, we tried to do a shortened practice.
Yeah.
We got out there and it started out all right. We made it through Indy and pre-practice and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it just started dumping, and it's like kids couldn't hear what I was saying.
It was terrible.
We couldn't see anything. We weren't getting anything accomplished. And it was like, this is awful. And I would call the play and then turn around because the snow was hitting me in the back here. So it wasn't hurt like that. It was sharp.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my living room later that evening looking out, and I couldn't even see the neighbor's house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. It's good training for them. We were fortunate in this last season that we really didn't have bad weather to speak of. You know, we had really had a pretty good season weather-wise, so we want to, keep it that way. But those trees are planted. Folks, when you come out to the spring ball game, you'll see them. You get here, if you won't be at the spring ball game, obviously they're going to be here when you come to the tailgate area. They're all around the field on the north end and on the north, south, and on the east. The cool thing about it is there's 40 trees. We were able to raise over $20,000. They'll all have water bags. We talked about this before, but there's 11 on the north side, 11 on the south side, and 18 on the east side. Great. So what's cool about that is we've got a football team on the south, football team on the north, and they'll be facing off each other for the next 100 years.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing them leaf out, and then this fall, hopefully, that bright gold.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really nice.
It would be cool if that was something that we could get into like that becomes like a Waldorf tradition where the falling of the ginkgo or whatever, the dropping of the leaves ceremony. But it's hard to plan for it because it's centered around that first frost and then the warm day that follows, and then it'll release, the leaves. So
all at once, within 24 hours, boom,
gone. Yeah,
yep. Boom, bang, bang.
And they hopefully they have enough time to turn gold. But if that happens earlier in the fall, the ginkgo's like kicking them out, even if they're green. So it's tied to that temperature change.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
They're going to be as they continue to grow and look beautiful. So thanks for doing that. I didn't take the day off to come help you.
Well,
guys.
that's just fine. We had plenty of help. It worked out really well. It's just like when we cut the trees down. We started on the northwest end, and and those first couple of trees, we were trying to figure things out, and then we got into a rhythm, and then it was just like
bang,
boom,
bang,
boom, boom, all the way.
At
down.
first, it was like everyone was at one tree.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, let's all get it all in. All right, now we're on to the next tree. And it's like, nope, I'm going to move on.
It looked like a federal construction job for a while there. We had lots of people on shovels, but then we figured out, we can have 2 or 3 groups.
A little pipeline here.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
So it was good. Once we got onto the east end of it, we actually started getting moving there a little bit.
Saw a couple of players, didn't we?
We had like 2.
Chris showed up
right at the
very end,
pizza.
Right when pizza arrived. Courtney Woogie went and got pizza and water for everybody, and then Chris showed up just like a quarterback, right there, like a
exactly.
He's like,
because I was given a tour on campus.
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
All right.
But he was there, So
hey, at least he showed.
But Derek Taylor, he showed up and he worked.
Yes.
And
no surprise,
he had. He's pounding down the mud on top of the trees.
Yes.
And we just gave that to him. So about 4 or 5 trees in, he's like, Coach, I can't move my arms.
Yeah, that's great. We talked.
Good
I was
work,
talking with Brock Wilson about it. So I brought a tamping tool in.
Yeah.
And I was like, have you ever thought of, because he was getting after it. That's exactly what a strength and conditioning coach wanted to do. I got this. It's like, I'm going to pack this so like it was planted, amazing. And then, but even if he passed that off eventually too, I was like, do you ever think about maybe this is be a workout? We'll get some tamping, things here, get some sledgehammers, beat up some tires, and
that's
go pound some clay.
Oh, then Chapa had it too, and he's going for it, and all of a sudden it's just like,
nope.
Yeah.
All right, this is
There's a reason that they moved to those vibrator things that are really smashed down, because that was something. But it worked great for that day.
Yeah,
lots of help. Thanks to everybody who came out and made it a success. And I can't believe how I thought we would be out there for 4 or 5 hours. And,
we got through it quick, but I think it was because we started just pipelining it down and not having everyone at the same tree all the way down. I'd be 3 or 4 trees down by the time they were done packing that tree down.
Yeah, nice.
So it was like they always had something to do. They weren't just standing and waiting for the tree to be done.
They are ginkgo biloba trees. I'll say it once again, because people kept asking. They would stop by. Nobody stopped. They didn't really stop when we were cutting the trees down, which is probably good for safety. But when we were planting them, people would stop by. We had walkers out there. It was a beautiful day, and and then Courtney Woogie, after a while, he got tired of telling people, well, these are ginkgo biloba trees. So then he told me, like, one of the old, like, retired maintenance guys from Waldorf University pulled up and asked the same question. This is like the 8th time that he's had to answer it.
Gary?
Like, what kind of, it might have been.
Love Gary.
Yep. And he's like, what kind of trees you planting? And Courtney decided at that moment to say, oh, we're planting ash trees again. But these are supposed to be the ones that are resistant to the diseases. So, and the guy was like, what?
That's crazy.
He's like, nope, that's what we're doing, planting ash trees. They're going to look great. And he's like, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And he storms away. So it's ginkgo biloba trees. That's not what we didn't plant ash trees. We took the ash trees out.
Yeah, that's funny though.
Yeah, he probably went straight to coffee. You'll never guess what I heard.
Well, that's what Courtney likes to do that.
Oh yeah,
it's going to get all over town. We're just replanting ash trees.
That's great. So, Coach, you got you're working yourself through spring ball. We got graduation in just less than a month, and then you're staring your summer down. Obviously, for coaches that doesn't. So, what's next for the new offensive coordinator after spring ball gets done?
Just kind of going back through everything that we've done up to this point and refining everything and clean up any mistakes, or if there's certain things that we need to change with plays or terminology or whatever it might be.
Sure.
And then just building off that, I wanted it to be really specific with each position, right? So each position will get their manual, quote unquote, that'll have all the details of everything, right? Nice. Running backs, your steps on certain run plays, what gap you're looking for, what players you're looking to cut off of, certain things like that, so that they have every single piece of information they need to go into the test. Right. And I think that's so important that they get everything that they need, so that there's nothing left in no gray area. Right. That's probably the next step is making sure that all of those things are accounted for, and we feel good about, the structure, the playbook, and where we can go from here. And then obviously continue to recruit.
Yeah.
And just get the pieces that we feel like we need to really be successful in this conference, and then start preparing for Northwestern.
Yeah. Right out of the chute. We bet.
Yeah. So are you going to be, and I don't know what it would matter to me one way or the other, but are you going to be a sideline OC or box OC? I know that there's I think each coordinator has their own wishes for things like that.
Yeah, I think I'll be on the sideline.
Yeah.
Well,
it makes it simpler for those in-game adjustments when you because if you're up in the box, granted, it's not that you can't talk to your quarterback or your offensive line, but you're able to do that
right.
on
And
a much
to kind of go along that same line, stuff happens all the time in games. You lose connection with your headphones. Whatever it might be. And so me being in the box, for whatever reason, God forbid that happen, if the mics go out or something like that, it's impossible for me to now communicate.
Now you're done.
Yeah.
I think, and being able to communicate with Chapa on the sideline and the rest of the offensive players and the coaches and stuff, I think is going to be big. So I think we'll figure out a plan for that.
Sure.
And have somebody up in the box. Obviously, I think, big thing for me is just the communication, that the other coaches are communicating the information I need so that I can put us in the best possible place to either get a first down or move the chains in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I don't really know quite yet what that'll look like.
Sure.
But yeah, I think, to really go back to the initial question, building off the stuff that we have right now is good, but once we have all the recruits that we want in here and the guys that we will continue to recruit, that'll give me the big picture of okay, well, this is what we have, this is what we can be good at, this is the direction we're going to go moving forward. So,
I like to hear that. You got to play to the strengths that you've got. Every team's a little bit different, and it changes year to year. So
for sure,
if you come in hard and fast, this is the program we run, by golly, this is what we do. It's but
and I want it to be I want there to be an identity.
Oh, sure,
right?
yeah.
But
you got skills that can be used, and
exactly. And I want there to be a base offense for us to fall back on. But at the end of the day, you're building a base offense, but you're doing it on paper.
Yeah,
right. Sure. It looks good on paper. Is it going to work against the opponents?
Yeah.
Right. What are they going to try to do to stop this? Can they stop this? Well, if they can't, then it should probably go on our call sheet. Right. And I think that's the fun part about offense, is you really just get to kind of pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
And the other team has to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing what that all looks like. We'll get a taste of it. So come on out next Saturday at some point. We don't know, maybe 1 o'clock.
I'm saying 1.
Might be 10. Either way, stay tuned and check it out on different social media sites. I'm sure we're going to probably make sure we get that. If nothing else, listen to the podcast next week, because I think we'll have some sort of clarity. Yeah, but come on out and see what the new offensive coordinator is throwing together. I've seen some pretty interesting things just in the few times I've been there, and it's pretty exciting. So looking forward to seeing how that all translates with all the rest of the work that you guys have to do to get us into the end of August. So, looking forward to seeing that, Coach.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. Want to thank offensive coordinator, the Don.
It was very nice for him to be here today.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
You're welcome. When you recruit, though, you've always got that ability to say, I'm going to make him an offer. You can't refuse.
You can't refuse.
The day of my daughter's wedding.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Coach, thanks so much for coming out and visiting with us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Well, that's it, folks. You've heard it here on the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. Thanks for taking time out of your day to just hopefully get your innards tickled by us. All right. Well, for Troy Thompson, this is Andy Buffington, and forever and always, go Warriors. You can join the Waldorf Gridiron Club and be part of the best small college football experience in America.
Just visit our website and pick your membership level. Find us and everything Waldorf Gridiron Club related, including professional photos, at waldorfgridironclub.org.
You can also click on the Support the Show link in the show notes to donate.
And you can even use the United States Postal Service by sending your check to the Waldorf Gridiron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
It's tax exempt, hassle-free, and has a level for every budget.
That's right. Anyone can join, even our rivals.
Show your colors. Join the Gridiron Club today.
Get it?
Got it. Fantastic.
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farm Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. Platformed by Buzzsprout and music by Soundstrike. The Waldorf Gridiron Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the student-athletes of the Waldorf University football program. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.